When I think of private security, I think of a guy in a tactical vest, probably carrying some kind of club or taser, but definitely carrying a gun. I actually kind of automatically assume it would be a condition of employment. Well, it turns out that a security guard in San Francisco was involved in a self-defense shooting back in April. Shockingly, the state isn't charging him for killing the shoplifter, but they are fining him for carrying a gun. Stay tuned for all the details on this one. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is sponsored by Blackout Coffee Company, your mom and pop Florida roaster that supports the Second Amendment and your rights. They've got amazing coffee, tea, and hot chocolate with all of their coffee roasted to order. To check them out and help support the channel, go to blackoutcoffee.com/libertydoll. Honestly, the biggest surprise of this story is the fact that security guard Michael Earl Wayne Anthony isn't getting charged for a homicide in California. The second most surprising thing is that there hasn't been riots over the shooting, as the shoplifter Anthony shot was a black trans man named Banko Brown. There were local protests, but the security guard was also black, so that creates a little detour in the narrative so it doesn't get George Floyd status. Early news articles about the incident called it a homicide, but the DA did cite self-defense and didn't bring charges. Walgreens, and really any store in San Francisco, is a dangerous place these days, and shoplifting has gotten so bad that many companies are just closing their doors and moving out of the area. On April 27th, Banko Brown just happened to be shoplifting from a Walgreens. Footage shows Anthony confronting him as he tries to leave the store. Brown starts shoving Anthony and the two get into a fight. Anthony gets Brown down on the ground, but then Brown gets back up, grabs his bag of stolen goods, and tries to leave again. According to both Anthony and the DA, Brown threatened to stab him multiple times during the altercation, which is why Anthony jumped up and drew his gun. In the footage, Anthony has his gun pointed at the ground until Brown makes a sudden movement and sort of lunges at him, which is when Anthony shoots. At the time, Anthony was employed by Kingdom Group Protective Services. According to the DA's report, KGPS changes their policies pretty frequently, sometimes even daily. While many places these days will tell security not to engage with shoplifters at all, which sort of defeats the purpose of security, Anthony's official title was Robbery Suppression Officer, and that day he was told to take a hands-on approach to recover stolen merchandise. They were to actively work to retrieve or recover any stolen items once it was clear that the individual who concealed the items intended to leave the store without paying, the report states. So if he hadn't gone after Brown, Anthony could have been fired. Brown's family and BLM activists still maintain he was executed in cold blood and should have been allowed to steal from Walgreens and assault security in the process. Also, because he was apparently homeless at the time, that makes him some sort of saint. But despite the DA agreeing with self-defense, the state just couldn't let Anthony get away with it. So the Bureau of Security and Investigative Services, or BSIS for short, has instead fined him $1,500 for carrying a gun and violating a uniform policy. Because that is what matters in life and death. BSIS claims that Anthony was carrying a gun without a permit, though if he was, in fact, unlicensed, I feel like the state would be charging him for illegal possession. Instead, they're claiming he didn't have some kind of security guard permit, and that fine is $1,000. They also say he wasn't wearing any patches on his tactical vest to indicate he was working as a security guard at the time of the incident, which they say is a uniform violation, and another $500. Michael Earl Wayne Anthony was involved in a shooting while on duty wearing a sweatshirt that did not have Bureau-approved patches on each shoulder that read Private Security and included the name of the company by which Anthony was employed, BSIS said. I mean, if I see a dude dressed all in black in a tactical vest guarding the door to a store, I'm going to assume that he's security. But the state rules for being a security guard has 30 subsections that each have an additional 2 to 10 subsections of their own, so they were bound to hit him with something. Apparently, one of those rules is that to carry a gun, you have to wear 2 patches that say private security and have the name of your employer, or else it's illegal. Also, it seems the employer doesn't provide those patches, and Anthony was expected to just come up with them on his own out of thin air. In the end, a $1,500 fine is a lot better than a jail sentence, but he shouldn't be facing either. Not only was he doing his job as instructed, but he shot someone that was threatening to stab him and lunged at him. Anyone who has ever taken any firearms training knows that if you are in close range and you have a gun in a knife fight, you better hope that you have already drawn and can shoot first, or else you're getting stabbed. There's no articles expressly stating that Anthony has been fired, so at least we can all hope that he still has his job so he can actually pay the fine. If not, I'm sure that any other security outfit would be lucky to have him. That's it for this BS story out of California. If you like this video and you like what I do here, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and hit the notification button if you ever want to know about any new video ever again, because otherwise, YouTube's not going to tell you. They don't like this kind of content. They'll put ads on it and take the money from it, but they don't like it. Drop a comment down below to support the algorithm powers that be, and as always, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe out there, security guards of Walgreens, and happy shooting.